So let's implement another interactive report now, that is extent report, right? For extent report, what we will be doing is we'll go to ambient repository and type extent reports over here. And this is a jar file that you would be needing for the extent reports, the latest one, right? So we'll go to POM XML and we'll see if the dependency is already added for extent report. If I've already added it, I think yes. So this is a dependency you may be needing for like generating extent reports. Now for extent report, I'm gonna create a utility and probably gonna call it as extent manager, right? So this is one of the class that I'll be creating, extent manager class, right? Now, in this extent manager class, I'll be initiating my report. I'll be getting the instance of this extent reports. Basically, I'm gonna create a class, let's say private static extent reports. So this is one of the class in extent report. I'll name it as extent, right? So I'll import this and I'm going to create a method over here which will actually going to give me the instance of this extent report. So I can name this method as public static the method name should be something like get instance, and it should give me the instant of extent reports itself. So the return type of this method should be extent reports, right? And within this method I'm going to say if extent equal to null. So at the moment the extent is null, this reference is null. What it will gonna do? It will gonna say extent equal to new extent reports, right? So this will gonna have a constructor, and that constructor will gonna this accepts the path where I actually need to generate the report, right? So there are a number of argumented constructor over here. Like you can define the display order as well, right? Of the report, how the report will be displayed, right? At times when you write your test cases, the test cases are not in sequence, right? By default, it may show you the alphabetical sequence of the test cases. So you can define the display order as the oldest first or the newest first, right? So this is how you can define the ordering of your test cases as well in extent report. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create the extent report in the folder, as in we can get it generated in the same folder where we are actually managing all the HTML reports, right? So we are managing it in target, surefire, and the HTML folder because all the screenshots are also here, right? So here I can generate something called as extent.html. So over here I can give the name as extent.html, right? And this should be inside the folder that is, I'll say system dot, let's say get property user.dir, and the path should be extended with the target folder, then surefire reports folder, and then within that we have HTML folder, right? So we have surefire reports, we have HTML, and under that there will be a report that will be generated, that is extent.html, right? And we're gonna define the flag as true, and we'll say display order dot oldest first, right? So this will gonna show the latest test case. The test case as per the test.ng XML, whichever get executed first, we're gonna display first in the extent report, right? And at the end, it should return me extent itself. Return extent. Right. Then couple of other things we need to do actually. There's a configuration file that is actually required to define some of the properties that you may want to see in the extent report. So configuration file would look something like I'll take it from existing project itself. So the config file I have kept it over in the resources, and this is one of the package where I'm storing the configuration file. So I'll just copy this package and probably paste it in my resources itself, right? So I'll paste it over here. So if I open this file, so this configuration actually gonna define like what is the theme that you want to follow. So there are two themes available. One is the standard theme, one is the dark theme, right? So you can generate your reports based on these standard themes, right? Then like will it be HTTP, HTTPS, right? Then the title, the document title of the report should be like this, right? Automation for data driven framework, right? The date format should be like this. So these are some of the things that you can mention over here, and we're going to display in the report itself, right? So once you give this configuration file, you need to give it over here. You'll say extent dot load config, right? And here you need to give the path of your config file, which is inside system get property, right? And then we need to give the rest of the path, as in it should be inside src test resources, and this package name is extend config, and the file name is reports config.xml. So extend config, and the file name is reports config.xml, right? So this is what we'll be giving, and we actually need to give the new file over here, right? So new file, we need to pass on this within the file object. We need to give this path, right? And there are other optional things. I mean, you can pass on some information if you want to add some system info. You can do that thing as well. That we're gonna take a look at later on, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'll go inside my base class, where I'll be defining this, where I'll be creating the object, getting the object of this extent report. So what I'll do, I'll go over here and I'll say public extent reports report equal to, and we'll get the instance from extent manager file, right? So we'll say extent manager dot get the instance. So this will get the instance uh, of this extent report, right? So this will return you the extent reports itself, right? So we are getting the object of get extent reports from this instance. And once this is done, we need to define some test cases along with it. So I'll say public static extent test, right? This will define all the logs inside your extent test cases, like the test cases that we will be defining. Now, after doing this, I'll go inside my listener where I actually want to implement it, because I'll not be writing the code again and again. I'll just gonna mention these things in listener, so that whenever a test case is passed, it should be reported inside the report itself, and whenever a test case is fail again, the same should be reported inside the report itself. So I'll go inside my custom listener, and what I'm gonna do on test failure, or on test success, right? The very first thing we're going to look at test success. On test success, I'm going to say test dot log, right? So this test instance, I need to get it from my test base itself. So I can even say test base dot test dot log, right? So log status, I'll be giving it as log status dot pass, because if a test is successfully executed, the status should be pass. And detail I can mention over here as pass itself. So pass, right? Pass, and I can give the test name as well over here. This argument basically stores the test name, right? So I'll say argument 0 dot get. I can get the name of that particular test which is actually being executed, and I'll convert it into to uppercase, right? This I'm gonna concatenate it over here. So I'll say this test is successfully executed. Now, whenever you're generating your report, once the one particular test is executed, you need to end that report as well, right? So what you need to do, if a test is successfully executed, you need to say that where we have declared extend report in test base. So this is basically a report, right? So you'll say rep dot, I'll go to my custom listener, and I need to say test base dot rep. Okay, I think I have actually created it as public. So instead of calling it with a static instance, I can do one thing, because everything I cannot declare as static. So I can extend this test base. So extending means in my custom listener, I can write over here extends test base. So I'll get these things directly. So instead of writing test base again and again, over here I can say rep dot end test, right? And the test I want to end will be the test itself, right? The same test, right? And then we need to flush the report. So don't forget to flush the report. Otherwise, the report will not be generated, right? So same thing we're gonna do it in where we are actually generating failures. So I'll go to my fail to the fail part over here, right? And I'll say test dot log status. Log status should be fail, right? And when failing, it should say get the name, and it can write uh, failed. And if you want, you can add the exception as well. Fail with exception, and give the exception over here. So exception, you can get it from the results itself. So I test result, you can say whatever exception is there, you can say this dot, let's say, do we have any method for getting exception? Get instance, get throwable, right? Throwable, we're gonna hold the exception, right? Returns that the throwable that was thrown while running the method, or if no exception was thrown, right? So let's see how it will gonna work. So on failure, I have actually added this, and again same thing, I need to end the test and flush the report as well, right? So we'll give it over here like this, right? And what else can be done when a report is failed, when a test case is failed, I want to add a screenshot as well, right? So I'm going to add one more log over here, and this log status should be fail. And then I'm going to say, instead of adding this message over here, I can say test dot add screen capture, right? So I can add a screen capture, and I can get the image path from test util dot screen name, right? So screen name, the path is actually where we are actually storing the screenshot. So On the same location where we have HTML, the same extent report will be generated over here, and the screenshot is also created over here. So the screenshot will be mapped accordingly, right? So let's save this and let us see if I execute the code now, will it gonna generate the extent reports or not? So let's run this. I'll say run as Maven clean, and then I'll say run as Maven test. So let's see if it generates the extent report or not. Okay, we got some error. Let's see what the error is. It says null pointer exception. On test failure. Okay, so we have got a null pointer exception over here. This is because we have not started the test case. We need to tell the report to start the test case as well. I just forgot this step, right? So every time how the reports will gonna come to know that these are the test cases that it actually need to works on. So what I'll gonna do on my start on basically test start itself, there is something called as test start. Before the test starts, I need to tell the report that okay, this is my first test case, right? So I'm gonna say something like test equal to I'll tell my report to start the test. So start test with the test name. Now how are we gonna get the test name? Test name will be your this argument dot get name. So this will gonna get the test name and I'll convert it to uppercase. So this will actually going to generate your test. So let's run this again and let me do Maven clean and say Maven test. Let's see if there are any errors, any more errors. No, there are no errors. Let's refresh this project. Let's see if the extent report is generated or not. Let me go to target, surefire, and HTML, and we're gonna see extent.html over here, right? Let us check whether this is what we were actually looking for. And if I go over here, press enter, see, so login as bank manager was executed initially, then add customer, and we have a screenshot attached over here to the report and a screenshot attached over here to the report. And over here we're going to see that there are two failures, right? So this is how we can generate extend reports and we can integrate it with the framework that we are actually using, right? So this report at times it is actually very helpful, as in we can add our own customized logs over here, all the steps that we have actually followed, that okay, this button is clicked, this link is clicked, we have actually typed some value over here, right? So all these things can also be reported easily along with the test steps over here. So how we're going to do that, we're going to see that thing in the next lecture, right?